morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Clock Blockers, your Miami sports music morning show. I'm flying solo with you today. Jason Sarny here. Stephen D is in the process of moving. So obviously everyone who's done that knows how arduous and difficult and annoying process that is. So we wish him well. Good morning to everyone out there. Appreciate you joining. And hey, the Miami Dolphins are 1-0. Before we jump in, I know this is the time where Stephen D usually pays the bills and talks about everybody who are such great sponsors and who help this channel, the Miami Sports Music channel. So I will do my best to run the show appropriately. So if any of the usuals, any of the crew in the chat want to jump on in, you are welcome to. I will throw the invite up, but of course, there's some terrific sponsors in Miami Sports Music in this channel. So thank you to everyone out there who listens, who sponsors. Tailgreeters, obviously, is a main one. We have such great things coming up in certain locations like Philly, like Washington. I'm going to be in both of those locations. So hopefully you guys can jump on in and get involved with what Stephen D, Miami Sports Music, and with what Tailgreeters are doing. But, throughout the morning, we'll go on for about 2 hours, and we'll do our usual Spread Kindness Friday stuff here. It's a day where we usually like to, really welcome some, community spreading of the joy and the love that we all have for the Dolphins. And, of course, we want to welcome in any comments, any questions. And with that, I already see a couple of really, loyal listeners, viewers, Trucker Sean, Miss Finns. Who else we got in there? We got Ryan. So thank you for everyone, Robert Trainer in there. Thank you for everyone joining me this morning. So if you want to jump in, I will open up the show a little earlier than we usually would do on this Friday format, and I will put it right on into the comments. So if anybody wants to jump on in and be a de facto co-pilot, that would be great. This is a terrific situation we are in as Dolphin fans. We're 1-0, and this team isn't even complete. We're going to really go into the micro of this in a little bit, but great offense, kind of not great defense against the Chargers week 1, but ultimately we saw an offensive performance that is so prolific that it reminded me for the first time, literally for the first time, it reminded me of the 90s and watching the offenses ran by Dan Marino. Tua looked sensational, and 466. I mean, that's really all you have to say, and that's what he did. So he lit up the Chargers. The defense by Vic Fangio was not good. That needs to be fixed, and hopefully Vic has gone back to the classroom, so to speak, and he schemes a little bit better. So we'll see how that happens with the Patriots. But ultimately, they went on the road. AFC win. And it was a situation where, the chips kind of fell in the AFC East. I don't want to really be that guy. But, yeah, the Jets took a major step backwards. We'll see what happens with the Patriots Sunday night. And the Bills did not look good. Their window, I can't even think that their window is really open still. They did not look good. The Stephon Diggs situation is intriguing. Visibly upset with Josh Allen on the sidelines, and Josh Allen did not play well. And I think that his window of being an elite quarterback, come on, after that performance, can't believe they lost that game. That was a complete hand off to the Jets as a win. And, he wasn't upset at Josh. It looked like he was upset at Josh. He went up to him and said, "Be smart." And then he side-eyed the tight end, and it basically was a nonverbal, could you get over this guy? Can you believe what this guy's doing? I don't necessarily think, well, this isn't a Bills show, but they didn't look good. And when Aaron Rodgers doesn't get a chance to complete a series, there's no reason why the Bills shouldn't have put their foot on the gas. But this, Red, White, and Bills, is an aqua and orange show. So we appreciate you joining, but we're going to talk about taking care of business on Sunday night nationally, something the Bills couldn't do in New Jersey. Hopefully we'll be able to do it in Foxborough. So let's talk that matchup, because, we could talk about the Chargers matchup as much as we want. But you know what? It's Friday. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Let's just turn the page. Let's go into the Patriots matchup where, hey, listen, Tua is 4-0 in his career against the Patriots. Now, team-wise, 4-0, that's really all you want. That's all I care about. Now, gaudy statistics against the Patriots, not necessarily the case, but that's fine. 3 passing touchdowns in 4 games, 3 rushing touchdowns, and an average of around like 181 passing yards per game. So Tua took care of business. Are we expecting 466 yards on Sunday? Listen, obviously, who the heck knows with this offense? Tyreek Hill. 75% of Jalen Waddle, because that's really what his snap count was. And what I love to see is that there's a 3rd and 4th option, 1 receiver, 1 tight end, and really a 5th option when you look at, Braxton Berrios making some phenomenal catches. Durham Smythe is the tight end, maybe 4th option, and River Craycraft is a viable 5th option. When you're looking at top tier targets for Tua, and then you have those complementary performers, Eric Ezukama getting some rushes. He didn't necessarily get targeted with a target, but that Jason Sanders field goal to end the first half was set up on a pass to him that was called for PI. So he didn't get credited with the target, so he was involved with those points, Ezukama. So, a side credit to him, but he was gadget kind of oriented, as we saw in the preseason. So him, Alec Ingold getting involved, and we are going to be seeing eventually your Devon A. Chains in the passing game, and hopefully, another tight end like a Julian Hill getting involved. But that's a little bit for the future. But this team going into the Patriots, they've done well against them overall. I believe it's been 4 wins out of the last 5 for the Dolphins. So, this is a really unbelievable opportunity for the Dolphins to not just start 2-0 again for the 2nd straight year, but to do so with 2 AFC wins, to do so with relative health and then getting back. Remember, they're going to be eventually getting back, big players, like a Nick Needham, hopefully within a month or so, 4 or 5 weeks is my prediction. Let's put week 5 or 6 is kind of the circle there. You're going to have a guy like Brandon Jones play a bit more. Now, the David Long Jr. mystery on defense was basically explained by Fangio, saying that they were nickel a lot, which makes complete sense. They needed more DBs. They were on the passing defense mostly in this kind of a game, although they gave up tons of rushing yards for sure, but they were in nickel, which means that Andrew Van Ginkel is the nickel starter. David Long is not. So just the ability for them to be in that package is the reason why, explained by Fangio to the media, that was the reason why the snap count was such a disparity. Now, Van Ginkel is talented to the point where I don't think you're just going to see him on the field in nickel packages. You're going to be seeing 60 to 75% of the snap counts one way or the other, I believe, for Van Ginkel. So with Jones hopefully getting integrated, Cam Smith didn't play a down on defense. He played special teams. You're getting that back. So there was concern 1,000% defensively, but this is not a complete defense yet. And obviously Jalen Ramsey is not here. So I really want to see, and I'm going to put this into a metaphor, Tua is phenomenal at when he throws an interception. More often than not, the next possession he throws a touchdown. And it's almost like he doesn't care. So I want to see Fangio and the defense do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we got chewed up. Forget it. I'm going to go shut the Patriots down because they're going to probably attack what they believe the weakness is, which is the rushing attack from last week's film. Maybe gut it. Maybe try to use Ramondre Stevens or Zeke, to try to gut the Dolphins, which would be different. Of course, Ramsey will be back, Daniel. Now, I love that. 1,000% I'm with you there. Will he be back in December versus November? Obviously, November would be amazing. But the point that I'm trying to make is they could have these games where statistically you're looking at the film, there's like, we need to fix that. But if they could pull together look, let's say it's November and the playoff picture has the Dolphins in it. I don't care if it's 1 through 7. And then you get Ramsey back, but they're already in the picture and you have a number of games where Ramsey is back. To me, that's not just playing with house money. That is jackpot, So Daniel, you're 1,000%. I just hope that they could weather the storm within the storm of dealing without Ramsey, doing so in a relative sense by just holding and getting the win on Sunday. So look, they have to fix it. Xavier Howard was not tremendous. Of course, he had some tough plays when you put on film, and unfortunately, he didn't play as Xavier Howard. The Christian Wilkins debate, to specify the defense and how I think it's going to be fixed against the Patriots, is that number one, it's a different scheme. It's a different scheme. So we're asking Christian, we're asking Sealer, we're asking Raekwon Davis to be the 3 guys up front to really do something a little bit different than last year schematically. And Wilkins was vastly double-teamed. He didn't get a ton of sexy statistics. Now, by sexy statistics, we're talking sacks, of course, tackles for loss, passes batted down at the line of scrimmage, things like that, things that you can go to a Google sheet, that you can go to an NFL film, stat line, whatever, and see, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 pass defended, dude balled out. On the flip side, when you look play by play, of the, let's say, 84% of the snaps that he played, let's cut the plays that he wouldn't have been a factor in. There's many of those. But of the plays that he was a factor in, he made at least 3 significant plays that flipped the ball back to the Dolphins or saved points. 2 of them that flipped the ball back, 3rd down, forcing to a punt. One of them was chasing Herbert out of bounds. One of them was stopping a little shovel pass that tried to pick up a quick first down, but Wilkins blew up the line. He should have gotten credit for some sort of a tackle for loss. It was a negative 2-yard play to Quentin Johnson on shovel. Herbert didn't know what the heck to do. Within two nanoseconds, Wilkins was through the line. He shoveled the ball, and then Wilkins actually circled back and finished off the play with a couple of his teammates. So no credit for the loss of yardage, but that's his play. So my point is, did he play up to par? No. Did he play to $23, $24 million? No, no one on that defense really played up to their pedigree or to their purchase price, or asking price. But they got to win. Efficiently, they got sacks when they needed to. Here's my favorite defensive stat of the week for Fangio. This is the defensive stat of the defense. Dallas Cowboys led the NFL in sacks week 1 with 7. They blitzed 21 times, 3 sacks per attempt, or 3 attempts, they got a sack. That was the ratio. Every 3 attempts, they got a sack. The Dolphins blitzed 10 times. They got a total of 3 sacks between 4 players on the half stack, on the half stat sack. So essentially, it's the same ratio. They were getting a sack almost every 3 attempts. So really, the efficiency was very similar, and that's what Vic Fangio preaches. He'll blitz when he wants to, when he feels that he's good and ready, and he's not going to over blitz. And what we saw was the quality and the timing of those blitzes, and Jalen Phillips essentially ended the game. And a play or so before that, you had an intentional grounding, which set up the ability to do that. You're talking an intentional grounding play on a hurry, on a called blitz that, number 1, loss of down. Number 2, loss of yardage. Number 3, to save a timeout, they took a 10-second runoff, which obviously is massively significant. You need every second you can when you're down. And obviously that put them into a situation where the Dolphins, they just smelled that win. Fangio called up the best blitz of the day. It was a no-brainer to the point where a satellite flipped out and caused many screens to go blue, while Jalen Phillips got to Herbert. So I expect him to fix it. I don't expect near 1,000 yards of offense total between these 2 teams on Sunday night, for sure. That's a bet. Last week was just an offensive explosion that was so enjoyable. But this is the kind of game I wouldn't be surprised to see that 20-17, 21-16, one of those scores where it's sluggish kind of defense, a couple of field goals maybe, separation in terms of possession or a field goal, but also the weather could be a little bit of a factor. The trickle effects, the after effects of the weather could be an issue. I don't think there's going to be a horrible in-game weather precipitation or wind or anything from the hurricane that was passing through or about to, but field, just the overall dampness, who knows, but let's see. It could be a little different of a week 2 feel, but the Dolphins, I'd rather them up in New England week 2 as opposed to, week 15, 17 or what have you. So this is an actual kind of win where if they can get a win up in New England, they still have that game against them at home later in the year. So that is just tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. And I think it could be probably one of the better starts the Dolphins can get to because they'd have 2 road victories in a row. So if they can go in there, this is major, major hype that I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But if they go in there, if they take care of business but look good doing so, I've already said that I think this team can go to a Super Bowl. But this is a test. If Bill Belichick versus Mike McDaniel is basically Tua getting to 5-0 against this man, Belichick, wow. Daniel brings up another question. Let's bring that up. So he says, so the Miami Dolphins and Tua have an encore performance, I'm guessing that. When I think encore performance, I think they can go in and win for sure. Do I think it's going to be passing the ball near 40 times? I would actually hope not. Now, don't get me wrong. If we're sitting back and we're watching if we're watching Tua versus Mac sling it back and forth and it's 40-38 at the end of the day and the Dolphins win, I'll be exhausted. We'll all be exhausted, but we'll get a win. It should be fun. But I would much rather see this team kind of win a football game on the road, meaning like a slugfest, like run the ball, because it was working initially and then it just stopped. Raheem Mostert had, I think it was like a 7.75 yard per carry average in the first half. Had a touchdown. Then obviously the dictation of the game led to much more passing than running. Could he have run a little bit more, Mike McDaniel? I think that's the cross that he bears, that he doesn't run enough, even when, if it works, use it, don't overuse it, but set up situations while using it. I'm not blaming him for anything offensively. Last week, it was a brilliant performance by Tua, couldn't care. But this game against Bill Belichick, where you really need to kind of outsmart the coach, I think the way to do that is to really play solid defense if you're Vic Fangio and just play, move the chains offense, keep that clock moving. Raheem Mostert, get Savon Ahmed involved. If we see Devon Chain dress, which I hope to see, let's get him involved with a couple of run plays, a couple of pass plays short out of the backfield to take a little bit of the pressure off Tua. I think that's a huge job for Devon Chain. And Chris Brooks, right now, we didn't see him, or last week we didn't see him on the field for offense. No snap count as a running back, no carry, obviously. He was a special teamer for a small percent of coverage situations. Will he see now? Bill Belichick is a coach that used random running backs all the time. He'd throw a running back out there for fantasy purposes. He'd drive people nuts. Old school Belichick, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, nut job with running backs. There'd be a random guy off the streets go for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. This would be really, really cool if we do that with Chris Brooks. I'm not saying we will. I'm saying if there's some sort of like a 3-head, wow, that's really funny, 3 ninjas on Murderized. I don't know if that was a reference where I was leading to, but kind of a 3-headed running attack with, see, the funny thing is I think A-Chain could be more of a pass receiver right now than a runner, meaning if he gets 3 or 4 targets, 3 catches, 1 run, 2 runs. That's the ratio. That's the math I see. I really would love to see Brooks get some carries. Savon Ahmed, I think, has earned some adequate carries against the Patriots now, based on last week, based on the preseason, based on his career with just going up and down here with the Dolphins. And Mostert, I think his pitch count will not exceed 20 touches. I don't think it will get close. So even if we are talking ground and pound scenario, it will be a forced hand to utilize the other running backs. Now, here comes an X factor. I'm setting an over-under of 2.5 for Eric Ezukama carries. This is the game where we could see a number of carries for Eric Ezukama because we're getting to around 25 to 30 rushes, ideally in my mind, because Tua has led to some touchdown drives. It's done so with Rush setting a pass and hopefully tricking Belichick to the point where it's vice versa, but to the point where I'm saying let's extend possessions now with some timely 7-minute drives, 6-minute drives, 10 plays, 12 plays. Kill that clock with a Savon Ahmed run, a Chris Brooks run. Give him 2 or 4 touches. That's all we need. Hopefully those are 3rd and short. That extends those drives. Gives Raheem Mostert a break. Get Mostert in that 15-16 rush category. And then maybe about 8 for Ahmed, 3 or 4 for Brooks, 2 or 3 for Eric Ezukama. We're talking 21-23, 17 win by the Dolphins. I would absolutely love that. And of course, that would mean that the defense is taking care of business. Would love to see some turnovers. Would love to see. Look, I don't need 10 sacks. 7 sacks is great. What the Dolphins did, they had 4 separate guys get involved in sacks on 10 blitzes, which was nice, but we need it spread out throughout the game a little bit more. Also, we need to see improved play by your David Long Jr.'s, and I want to see him in more. I want to see the middle of the field taken care of against the tight ends, against that middle looks. Those middle looks on the 3rd downs, 3rd and longs. There were a couple of really tough plays that Jerome Baker couldn't make a play on that, the middle of the field could be susceptible with Hunter Henry and, of course, Mike Gesicki on Sunday night. And to me, this is a very fun potential of Durham Smythe on the Dolphins side, who played great on Sunday, versus Mike Gesicki. This is a nightmare for me. Everyone knows that I like to joke around with, I guess call it I thought Gesicki would have a better end to his Dolphin career. I really thought he would one day be utilized better. There is still a dream in my mind. Hopefully it's not for the Patriots, that he can either come back or do something somewhere else where it doesn't matter for us, that he can put together a year that he's capable of. I fear this is one of those Belichick, all right, Mike, you're going to score a touchdown. I'm going to throw the ball to you twice. You're going to get 1 chance for a touchdown, and then I'm going to get to the game plan. Or my point is, he's that kind of guy, Belichick, where he knows. Trust me, he knows. And to get Mike Gesicki a touchdown, that would be demoralizing for me, let alone a lot of people, let alone people on the Dolphins sideline. But my bet would be that Durham Smythe comes back too. So my chess match prediction is that, both Gesicki and Smythe get into the end zone. And just to throw a quantitative number on that with the odds, it's plus 2,641. So if you want to throw a sawbuck on that, a unit, go for dinner on me. But I know they're opposite side of the field. I'm talking about the revenge aspect, Daniel, of Bill Belichick using Mike Gesicki on his offense and Durham Smythe as a ha-ha. Just clarifying, Daniel. I know that Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki are on opposite sides of the field now. Another irony is that they both had not identical, but they had 3 catches, 3 first downs. One of them for the Patriots, Daniel and Gesicki, and one of them for the Dolphins in Smythe Daniel. Eye roll emoji. But anyway, outside of the tight ends, we spoke about Braxton Berrios, spoke about Eric Ezukama. I want to talk a little bit more about Braxton Berrios. He made 2 phenomenal catches. One of them led to a challenge, an appropriate challenge, because at first glance, it was one of those catches where you thought that the ball would just, Berrios did everything he could. The ball might have touched the field, but he made the catch. It was actually textbook. It was so textbook. And the first look that the announcers had, it was Harlan who just said he caught it. That was a catch. That was a catch. And what Harlan says to me is God's word. So if he says it's a catch, I'll tweet in half a second. That's a catch. Joe B561. I love Craycraft. So do I. We'll get to Craycraft. But Craycraft is really, look, this guy has been dropped by 14 different situations, I think multiple times on a few different teams. So I can't say 14 teams, but I think 14 cuts, right? He's found a home, not just with the Dolphins. He found kind of a home with, a partnership almost with Mike McDaniel in San Francisco. And to the point where he brought him or coerced him to come to Miami, and Craycraft made the team last year and this year. He does the dirty work. He does everything that playbook calls for a receiver to do when he's not getting targeted. And when he gets targeted, the dude just comes up with catches. He came up with a touchdown. So really, yeah, Joe, I love River Craycraft. And as I mentioned before, as a 5th option, this could a 5th option. This could be great. Last year when you had even your Skylar Thompsons in there during Tua's injury absence, or those games where, Skylar, came in as well. It was really difficult to utilize another option other than your dynamic duo in Hill and Waddle. So with a healthy Tua, getting that ability to have really a laundry list of reliable weapons. You have Craycraft rising. You have a new one in Berrios. You have Durham Smythe, who's getting now thrusted into a role. He played every snap from the tight end spot. There was no other guy. So he did everything he needed to do, did it well. He was targeted 7 times, which tells me that they're going to go to him. I mean, think about that. 7 times across the season, that's not bad for tight end usage in an offense that really doesn't use the tight end. But when you're creating first downs each time you get the ball, I'll tell you, on a yards after the catch stat, it was around 7.7 for Durham Smythe on his catches. So kudos to him. Now, moving on to different areas of the field, special teams. I mean, nothing crazy stood out coverage-wise, nothing horrible. I think Bailey had a punt. It wasn't anything that was, something to write home about or anything horrible. Jason Sanders, to his credit, 3 of 3 to detriment. Oh, my God, to miss a point after attempt. I'll tell everyone this. I know a lot of people say what they want to say about Sanders. I'm pro Sanders. I've always been a fan of his. Never in my life have I lived and died with every single kick that a Dolphin kicker makes like I experience these days with Jason Sanders. Just because I've endorsed him so much, I'm behind, his skill sets in the leg power. It's always just a slight, it just something just happens. It's never really a short miss. It's not like he doesn't have the leg. He was drafted because he has the leg. Darren Rizzi drafted him. Everyone loves Darren Rizzi. That's Darren Rizzi's legacy, folks, is Jason Sanders. If you want to know the legacy of Darren Rizzi, it's Jason Sanders. Because of the fact that he had the leg, because of the fact that he noticed his college discrepancy in field goal percentage was because of the holding situation, thus creating my whole obsession with the holder and the snap to hold to kick battery, so to speak. So There's been three separate ones, 3 separate years. We all talk about Tua having continuity and offensive coordinator. Let's have continuity in holders. That's just, I know, a silly comparison. I get it. But it's never the leg. But to miss a point after attempt, it's like a putter with the yips. You could be the best golfer in the world who has won Masters and Opens and Majors with putts to sink it to win, like Sanders has done to win big games. But then sometimes you just miss that. You miss. And then if you miss that one, you're in your head. Can't miss again. Can't miss again. Oh, you missed. So that's, and hey, Newfoundland, phenomenal point. But this is not a Williams snapping to Sanders, because Blake Ferguson is, but you bring me to a point that is the next topic of the offensive line. Blake Ferguson snaps to Jason Sanders. It's never, ever the snap. A lot of people kind of got in their feelings when Blake Ferguson was extended. A lot of people got in their feelings when Blake Ferguson was drafted. Let me tell you why Blake Ferguson was drafted. The man could tell you how many rotations are on his snaps. Based on wind, based on this, based on that. He'll know what he needs to do. I'm being serious. I'm not even being facetious, joking. He said it. He knows the rotation counts that he needs to get in certain situations. Kick, punt, weather, wind, whatever. He knows, you know? So, no, everyone gave Sanders flag, Daniel. You're absolutely right. We can go back to that. But the fact of the matter is, it's never the snap on the kicking game. And that's a credit to Blake Ferguson. When you have someone who's a master at that skill, oh, and by the way, John Denny was for 20 years for the Dolphins. And then there was a little bit of a bridge snapper in Tabor Pepper, who's loved in San Francisco, by the way. But the long snapper is a valuable position because you're never going to have a Connor Williams situation on a punt. How many times do we see punts near the end zone? You know? You're not seeing a Dolphin punter chase when Blake Ferguson is punting or when Blake Ferguson is long snapping the ball there. So Sanders to me is all mental. Now let's get to Connor Williams, Newfoundland. I am extremely more concerned with Connor Williams than I am Jason Sanders. The reason being, and look, this game on Sunday could have had an entirely different song and dance to it if the Dolphins scored immediately. Look, I know people could say, well, the Chargers just came right down and scored again. But there's something to be said with a team going down, which they did, the Dolphins, and just said, you can't stop us. Boom, boom, but we're going. It was one of my favorite drives to start a season I've ever seen. Ever. And then all of a sudden, Connor happened. Remember White Men Can't Jump? One of my favorite movies. Billy Hoyle lost the money, said, it happened again. What's it? You happened again. You, Connor, you happened again. Learn to snap. I'm sorry. This is a multifaceted blame. He's a left guard, a good one from his Dallas Cowboy career, a good one. He played great center last year from a captain of the position, calling out the audibles, looking at the looks, blocking. But look what happened. Newfoundland, correct me if I'm wrong. Massive wind out of the sail, deflation of everything when that turnover happened, when you're knocking on the door on the road, because team could be completely flustered. Well, you know what? If you're Justin Herbert and coming on the field now saying we need to score to match Tua and the Dolphins versus, all right, they screwed up. We're in the plus territory. Let's go. Meaning that there's a little less pressure. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Herbert would have forced something and Fangio maybe would have had a different process because he's playing with the lead, not, oh, look what the offense just did. Now it's on us to stop him. You know what I mean? So it's like that butterfly effect. You can't go back in time and fix one thing without everything else being affected. So to me, Connor Williams could have affected this game at detriment. That could have been a disaster. Thankfully, it didn't. But this is happening way too often. Way too often. And once is enough. I mean, once is enough. To me, if I had to give a knock, like a really bad knock on Greer, which I rarely do, it will be the passing on really good centers. Like really good. Cesar Ruiz. I wanted Ruiz bad. He was recently extended Saints center. The Dolphins have had pure blood centers for so long. Not so long. I mean, I don't want to say so long. Often and long. Meaning they had Tim Ruddy for about 10 years. They had Mike Pouncey, who it was a left guard center, who was the only Dolphin lineman to be a Pro Bowler from offensive lineman. Pro Bowler in two separate spots of the line. You had, back in the day, you had Dwight Stevenson, even further, Langer. You had centers. And the Dolphins have not drafted pure blood centers. They've tried to adapt guards into the position. I think we're seeing that issue. Now, here comes to my wrap-up point and circle and land with snapping. Long snapper versus center. I told you Ferguson's a savant, a master, the Picasso of the snap. That's what he trained his entire life for. He wasn't a defensive end that was converted, learned it, mastered it. That was John Denny. He wasn't a, linebacker who, some of those kind of positions just convert to a long snapper, or a center will just convert to a long snapper because they already have the fundamentals of snapping. We need a center who snaps his entire life. A pure blood center. To me, we have him. He's not on the 53. He's a developmental, experimental player who I loved what we saw of him in the preseason. I call him an insurance policy, which I think that is the exact apropos term for him with what we're seeing with Connor Williams. It's Alama Uluave. This is a pure center. Looks it, plays like it, every facet of it. If I had to put a chip on a roulette table of, I guess, made-up scenarios, hypotheticals, I would think that next season we are not going to see Connor Williams on the team. And we're going to have an individual who could take the job, who's already on the team on his practice squad, in Alama Uluave at center, thus creating, obviously figuring out what the rest of the line is going to look like. But obviously you also have a veteran who is often injured in Teron Armstead. So we'll talk about the offensive line for next year, closer to next year. But just when we're talking about Connor Williams and the snapping issues, I do think that if you're down by 3, or if you're in a scenario where you need a touchdown, you're driving, and one of those snaps happen where it creates a 3rd and long, a turnover, and you lose the game because of that, I think that's not only worse, but I think that when looking at this, it could be more likely than Sanders costing us a game. Now, what is costing us a game? Now, missing an easy field goal, us losing by under 3 later in the game. Yes, certainly. You could chalk it back to that. I get it. It's like the basketball kind of thing. Someone misses a layup, wide open layup. You lose by 1, but the layup was missed in the 3rd quarter. Is it his fault? I get it. Certain things you have to do. But if it's like a 23-yard chip shot and the Dolphins are down 1 and he misses, that's on him. I get that. If it's a 51-yarder to win the game and they're down and he has the distance and it fades a little left, and is it on him? Does he cost us the game? I don't know if he cost us the game in that scenario as much as he did, put us in a position to maybe win it. He just didn't hit a 51-yard kick. 51-yard kick should be hit, but look at the other scenarios that got into that position. Did he miss another field goal? Did the Dolphins have other opportunities to score? Were points put on the board or given up that shouldn't have happened? So football is a team, offense, defense, special teams. So it's a great question, and I do think that I don't want to put percentages on what's more likely. A Connor Williams, I don't want to see a Connor Williams miss snap. I don't want to see a Jason Sanders miss field goal in a position to win a game. I don't want to see a missed PAT from him. Frankly, I don't want to see a missed field goal from Sanders. I'll be fair. Anything inside 48 yards has to be hit. Mind you, 20-mile-an-hour winds, monsoon, snow eventually, whatever. Inside 48 yards, he has to hit it. Above that, it has to be above 70, 75% bare minimum on those situations, because he used to be a sniper from 50 plus. Sniper. So again, with him, it's the leg that's not what's the worry. So when you see that like bar, he'll hit the distance. He just has to hit the uprights. It's just a matter of fact. So unless people want to show me short field goals, I haven't seen many. I could be wrong. I see just misses. I don't see shanks. I don't see 10 yards short. I don't see anybody getting a chance to run one back. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But I'm going to open it up again. Appreciate everyone jumping on in, and I'm the sub right now. I'm called the timeout. I did the going to the relief pitcher. Stephen D right now is probably, I don't know, getting clothing out of a wardrobe or getting things off of a U-Haul. I hope it's going well. Listen, moving sucks. It does. I moved into a Pennsylvania home, the home that I'm in now with my family. We moved in 2018. And I still haven't figured everything. I still haven't gotten some things in the basement taken care of. So, Stephen, God bless you. The Daniels crew, hope it goes smooth. And listen, it gives me an opportunity to kind of reset, and thank everyone for joining us and me on this Spread Kindness Friday on Clock Blockers, Miami's #1 morning show. Stephen D is a great guy. I love Stephen D. I love doing this show on Friday. I was actually thinking, I don't know if I was going to be able to do this by myself, but I owe it to Stephen D. There needs to be a show on Friday. I told him I'm his guy on Friday. So do me a favor on behalf of Stephen D. And I'll tell you what. I'll try to fly this thing appropriately, but yeah, I'm going to do it. I did not want to do this, folks, but because I love Stephen D. Someone's birthday today. Someone special. The reason why I know what sports as a whole is that guy back there. It's his 62nd birthday today. It's Dan Marino's birthday. So a happy birthday to Dan Marino. And everyone knows I love my cards. And I actually pulled, the last pack that I got was a college select pack. And I kid you not, in the same box, it was a blaster box. So within one pack was the card I'm about to show you. But in one blaster box, which is 6 packs, 40, 60 cards, depending on the product, the first card off the bat was, and I need to send these cards out. I know, I need addresses. So whoever won last week, send me addresses, please. First card off the bat was Zach Thomas in a Texas Tech uniform. The next card off the bat of that one was Wes Welker. Zach Thomas, Wes Welker, Texas Tech. Boom, boom. And then there's 4 cards in that particular pack. The last card was what you would call a short print special. And I'm going to raffle this one off right now. But people need to come correct, and people need to help Stephen D and this channel out. It's going to be a hologram, not a hologram, but it's a prism. Oh, man. I'm giving them up. Yeah, it's a Dan Marino prism pit jersey. This is a field level. This is like look, the value of the card, I would say, is probably anywhere from a venti Starbucks coffee to, let's say, a Chipotle good lunch, right? That's the value. All right. So we'll do, if you want to put up a $5 donation, we're going to go into the show for probably another 45 minutes, around 11:30. Or if anyone wants to jump on, max 12, because I got things I got to just take care of on the business front, but this is something I always enjoy talking to this community. So that's why I wanted to do this show. And Steven, I hope you're doing well. But I am going to raffle off this card. It's a Marino Pittsburgh card. So if anyone wants to enter, it's a $5 minimum. And then we'll do one of those wheels. I'm not Stephen D with the raffle touch, so I'll see what I can do. But we'll figure out. Yeah, Mudbone. I'll tell you what. Okay, Mudbone. I know I'm not asking you to put the address up here, but I'll get it from Stephen D. And I'll tell you what, Mudbone, just follow me. I'll follow you. We'll figure it out. But good. Come on here and let me know what cards or who I need to send this to. Last week was a little crazy. So first couple of raffles that come in, we'll get the ball rolling. And of course, you know me, I'll throw in a couple of side fun cards. But let's get some fun donations going. Help a brother out and Steven moving down, crossing state lines, going to another area of the country, and it's all going to really this channel, which that's what he does, and that's the hard work and the effort that he puts in to give us all content. So, pardon me. So I would hope to, get a couple of people to, throw some bids up for this Marino card. So having said that, I loved some of the questions that I saw. I want to open it up for some more questions. And of course, let me throw this link up in there again. Oh, here we go. I got a bold take. Oh, boy, this is a bold take. Bold takes. Tua will throw for over 400 yards again. I mean, look. I'll put a name on what I was saying prior to week one, that I just want wins. Mudbone, you're the best, dude. So you have two names in there. You're the best. Two names for the Dan Marino. If you're just joining, we are going to raffle a Dan Marino Pittsburgh. It is one of those funky, it's got that hollow to it. It's got that hologram to it. Dan Marino. Happy birthday, Dan. So back to what I was saying, Daniel. I thank you again, Mudbone. I didn't think that I didn't think that we were a team that needed to rely on Tua to throw 466, but that number is now ingrained in all of our heads because it was such a good number. It's 466 now. He has that. That's a signature. Dan Marino had 4th and 5. Tua's got 466. I'm like coughing on the truth here, but basically, one second, everyone. We have a guy who carried the team on his back, much like number 13, the birthday boy, had to carry his teams on his back most of the cases, most games in his duration, the 1.0, and then after the Achilles, the 2.0, just in different ways. It was Duper and Clayton in the offense, and those two as Marino's guys. And then in the 90s, it became almost a different area of the field that he was utilizing and different players. He was utilizing, tight ends like Keith Jackson, Eric Green. He was utilizing, outside threats like Irving Fryer and Mark Ingram, not players who were exactly Duper or Clayton. And then O.J. McDuffie in the middle of the field led the league in receptions, So Marino was always finding and making everything work. And I really honestly thought that Tua was going to do similar to that, but not at such strenuous ask. You know what I mean? So I figured that Vic Fangio would have a better scheme. I figured it would be a little bit lower score. I called it 27-23, was off by 20 some odd points total. Am I happy? Yeah. Am I nervous there needs to be some tweaks defensively? Would I like to see some things happen on offense to maybe make it more of a complete? I mean, here's a disparity. This is not terrible, but here's a disparity. I'm going off memory, so pardon if I'm off here. 30 first downs by each team in Los Angeles, by the Chargers and the Dolphins. The Chargers basically, outran their passing first downs, number of more runs than passing first downs. The Dolphins had 23 passing first downs and 5 rushing first downs and a couple on penalties. So the disparity wasn't that huge for the Chargers' rush to pass. Tua led this team statistically, visually, every aspect. I don't know that he needs to do that on Sunday night, and I hope that it would be a scheme of a different kind of color. You know what I mean, Daniel? Like, I hope that if Belichick is going to go with we're going to run and we're going to keep Tua off the field, because look what the Chargers did to the Dolphins' rush defense last week, we could be in for that type of a game where there could be a disparity in time of possession. There could be a disparity, in just the way the game is called versus last week. You know what I mean? So this is not a detriment to Tua. If we're watching another game like last week, I just don't know that we're watching the same player in Mac Jones like Justin Herbert and the same scenario. There's also weather, damp field, potentially from a hurricane remnant. I'm not a weatherman, so I don't know exactly what it's like there now, but I don't think it's going to be heavy or any precipitation Sunday night, but it's going to be, there will be an effect of it, So, again, 1,000 yards of offense, 466, 400, 390. I don't know. If I had to throw a guess, now again, Bill Belichick has lost to Tua 4 times. It's not because Tua has gone off 300 yards a game, 4 touchdowns a game. It's because the Dolphins have won those 4 times. Now, that's not, again, a detriment to Tua. I think it's also the way that Belichick will play your Tyreek Hills, your Jalen Waddles. This is a game where I do believe that Durham Smythe could be a big player, or Alec Ingold could be a big player, where if Tua is going to be on the 3, maybe he, for a 4th time, gets a rushing touchdown against the Patriots. He's had 3 touchdowns against the Patriots in his career. That's, to me, that's a trend, So I don't want to see Tua put his head down and run at all. But if you could see one of those plays where it just is a very short, minimal trick, when I say trick, just a great play action and Tua just waltzes into the end zone, sure, why not? Sign me up. But I don't want to see him dive over a pile or sneak for a first or sneak for a goal line breach of the line and put his body or head on the line. No. 400, Daniel, I can't see. If we're seeing 380 and it's the 3rd quarter, I'm going to be like the broadcaster in Major League, just twisting open the jack bottle and just, I don't know if I'm going to be able to just take the shootout aspect. Fun, sure. Strenuous, yes. Give me Tua doing his thing. 17-24 against the Patriots. 245, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Get out of there and win. I'm literally the happiest guy in the world with the defense doing well. Defense doing well. Holding the Patriots to 85-90 team, let's call it 75-95, better range. Rushing yards as a team. Can't see them over 125. If we're seeing that, I'm upset. If we're seeing one rusher, if we're seeing back-to-back 100-yard rushers, I will be both really, really stunned and really saddened that Vic Fangio didn't, fix it or didn't even chisel away at what needs to be fixed. So, to me, if the Dolphins can bottle up the run, if Vic Fangio is coming in there saying, all right, here's what we didn't do last week. If you're going to try to beat us that way, good luck. Because if we're going into the 3rd quarter and the Patriots hopefully have 29 or at most 40 rushing yards, we're pacing really, really well. Hopefully, the Dolphins offense is keeping the Patriots offense off the field, not for scaring or fear or any kind of, oh my God, it's Mac Jones. No offensive line has more fun when they're running on a team or just pushing the defensive line and getting first downs. Hopefully the offense can be both pass and run. 6-minute, 9-minute drives, 15-play drives. This is what I want more in this particular road game than a shootout. I hope that makes sense, because I know everyone loves a shootout. For me, I don't mind the defensive game. Storm will be out Saturday p.m. Thank you, Trucker Sean. So I don't know, again, what that's going to do to the field, but hopefully in terms of no precipitation, no wind, no stupid things that's going to cause kicking concerns. I like it. Daniel, coming great with the questions. I love it. Will Vic Fangio fix the run defense from last season? That's the question. I can't answer it until we see it. But I'll throw this question. When we were concerned about a defensive scenario last year, were we confident in the person who had to fix it? No. Now, Vic Fangio comes back on a sabbatical, year removed from really being in the nitty-gritty, couple of years removed from being a head man. Vic Fangio is a head coach on defense. Let's be real. Mike McDaniel is the head coach, but there is a number 1A on the staff. I mean, look, Vic Fangio walks through the room, same accountability as Mike McDaniel walking through the room, down a tad. But you know what I'm talking about. So do I have the faith? Do I have the confidence that Vic Fangio will come in and fix it? My bet is yes. Now I'm going to give you the odds. I'm going to say percentages I know can get me in trouble, but I am more confident. So I'm not going to give you the odds. I take that back. I'm more confident that he fixes it to an extent as opposed to seeing something similar or worse. That's a hedge bet, kind of. I know. Are we seeing 200 rushing yards by the Patriots? I would gun to head, absolutely not. If we are, pull the trigger. Frankly. Because I'm a Vic Fangio disciple. One of my favorite stats to backdate for Fangio from his Denver days correlates to his lack of blitzing, but his efficiency in blitzing. And we have Tila Bruto in the room. I'm going to bring you on in. How you doing? But hang back 1 second.
You're breaking up. You broke up at the end. I didn't know if it was me or you.
Oh, sorry. As I brought you in, my bad, Tony. Thank you. So as Fangio ran his defense last, and then I'll bring you on in for your question. Thank you. But as his efficiency in blitzing was proven in 2020, he and the Broncos were a top 9 sack team in his limited blitz scheme. And also what his defense and what his timely blitzes are now simply was the second lowest passing touchdown mark in 2020 by the Broncos defense. Team, they weren't good. Defense, when you look into the numbers, they were really very good at what the Dolphins weren't good in last year. Librato, you're up.
That showed in that first game. He only had, 3 sacks on 7 blitzes?
Exactly. I said it earlier. It was 10 blitzes, 3 total sacks. 10? So, yeah.
Yeah. But no, my thing is, I want to come up to. I think Tua's going to do another 400-yard game, but I think it's going to be different. I think Waddle's going to be the key in this one. I think Bill Belichick's going to want to try to erase Tyreek and do whatever it takes, and that's going to leave Waddle one-on-one.
I was thinking that this morning. That I love that you brought that up because we're going to talk about that. Limited in practice with an oblique, Jalen Waddle. But I still think that's not going to defactor him in the game. I think if we're looking at what he did last week in pitch count, it was early, often nothing, meaning I think they just utilized him to the point where I don't know if he was hampered, but at the end of the game, we didn't see much of him, but he did have a nice game. He had
I heard he was back at full yesterday.
Back at full yesterday, phenomenal. I think I was looking at the Wednesday limited. So you know what? Back at full yesterday, outstanding. Do we want to almost stop tap? That would be fine by me. Now, Tyreek Hill, I want to go to his career against the Patriots. Nothing world beating, So I think that you make a point where I think Belichick will scheme against Tyreek, but he has found the end zone 6 overall times in 6 games against the Patriots.
Yeah.
So
but you got to think about it. Bill Belichick takes away your biggest weapon. That's what he's known for. Correct. And if he's going to throw 3 people in Tyreek's direction, that's going to leave other people open. And I think Tua's going to take advantage of that.
But with Tyreek Hill's also ability to go in motion, I love his ability to negate that. So if Belichick schemes and does take him completely out, Waddle has to be the guy. But also what's good to me, and I feel like all of us, is it was 10 times, Daniel, as per Pro Football Reference. It was 10 times the blitz. I think the 3rd and 4th wide receivers are going to be huge in the scheme also. I think Braxton Berrios
and Easy.
Correct. And options, in terms of when you look at the options, let's throw in Durham Smythe. And hey, credit to Stephen D. He might not be going crazy with 3, 4, 5 catches a game. But yes, Alec Ingold will be factored into the passing attack. Don't know if yeah.
I remember that debate. I remember that debate with you and him.
It's funny. If we get to like the point where he's eclipsing 2.5 or 3 catches on average, I'm going to do some sort of fun Ingold count because 2 catches is 34 on the season. And I don't know if that's good enough to be top 3 or 4. I don't want it to be top 3 or 4. That to me tells me that the offense isn't really doing what they need to do with targets 3, 4, 5, 6. We need Ingold to be the 6th or 7th target.
I think they're really trying to turn Easy into Debo with how he ran in college too. And I think they're using him a lot out the backfield with the bigger back and using him out the slot for that. And I think that's going to open up also with Tyreek. But I think you got to run away from where Tyreek is. If they're going to run the ball, they have to do something where they're running away from where Tyreek's going when he's in motion, because that's where all the coverage is going to go. And they're going to have to pull back and go the opposite way, which is perfect on most of his runs because you're going to have Armstead back most likely on that left side with Wynn. And Wynn's going to want to play his butt off against New England.
Oh man, you're riffing. Keep going.
No, that's just the way I would do the game plan. You got to run opposite where Tyreek goes. Anywhere Tyreek goes in motion, you're going to counter with, because that's the defense's weak side. And that's the only way I see us getting success and slowing the pass rush down in the beginning of that game.
Could end the show right now and say that was perfect. That was perfect. I want to get back to your Debo point. Really great stuff, Todd. Hang back. Stick around. If anybody wants to join,
I'm gonna listen. Awesome. All I have to do is listen. I'm waiting for a tow truck because my work car's overheated.
Did you guys hear? Did everyone hear what happened with Armstead and Tua?
No.
I'm asking everyone. Todd, did you hear? Supposedly, as Tua told the media, I don't know the whole story, but from what I saw, I think Tehran's car broke down, and as Tua said, he saw it, but just didn't turn back. Come on, Tua.
Oh, man.
I mean, look, you got to dress Tehran, right? I mean, protect Tua. Tua will circle back. In Tua's defense, I am an out-of-town Dolphin fan, so when I'm in town, I love my music in the car. I don't listen to music in the car in Florida, because if you miss an exit on one of those highways, you're done. You're done. So if Tua had to circle back, if it was a highway, he could have added 40 minutes to his ride easily. So I don't blame Tua, all things considered. I digress. But Todd, back to your point on Eazy-E. I'm going to throw the weirdest comparable of my Dolphin life right now for our Debo esque player in Eric Ezukama, because this is what I'm going to want to see. We have a gadget player now, right? We have a legitimate gadget player in Eric Ezukama. There's a play that I've been waiting for. Todd, you sound like you're of my age or a little around. Can I get a decade?
I'm older than I'm 40. I'm going to be 49 this coming week.
Beautiful. So you're in the 40s club like me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a player out there who was listed as something, but did everything, did whatever was needed.
Jim Crash and is it JC?
Crash Jensen.
Yep. Jim Crash Jensen.
Different. I mean, we're talking apples and oranges. But
he came in when we had the strike as a quarterback.
Yes, he did. And he lined up in the backfield. He lined up as a wide receiver, as a tight end, on special teams.
Yep.
Now, what he also did that was, to me, was the most beautiful play. He did it several times. He lined up as a running back in a pro set or a split back set. He took a handoff. Marino went about 5 feet behind the handoff to his right. And then Jim Jensen just tossed that ball back there on a flea flicker. And good night, nurse. When we see that, Todd, send me up to the gates, man. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, those days, man.
So, that's what I see Debo. When Debo gets a handoff, it's going to that could be an option to just completely catch everyone off guard. He could take the ball.
You know what makes Easy-E better than Debo? It's the yards after contact. He's bigger, he's stronger, and you can't take him down on the first hit. He bounces. That's one thing he was also known for in college. You can't take the man down on the first hit.
We need the yards after contact, not the yards after catch. That's nice, but in differentiation.
Yards after contact. Yeah,
you know,
I agree with
it's
that.
the point. Like, we need a guy who could get that ball if it's 3rd and 9, and they need a quick slant, get that ball out 6 yards, point of contact, get those 4 yards.
Yeah,
like, get it.
That's why Brooks made the team.
Not that maybe no brainer that'll pick that up. You know, he needs the space, right? You know, if Ezukama meets point of contact, has to fight. We saw what he could do in the preseason when he was getting those yards after the contact, churning, getting, I don't care if he was getting 4 extra feet. This is a game of inches. He knows that. So
and him in the backfield is a better blocker than what Debo is. If it came down to where a blitzer came in and it was he faked the handoff, he could turn around and lay somebody out blocking. Easy-E can block.
If he, and I'm not saying he doesn't, last year the knock on Easy-E or the call out was that he didn't have the playbook down, whatever. I'm speculating based on
I heard it was the route tree, because Texas Tech doesn't run the route tree, and Welker knows that, and Welker was helping him out with that.
I was just going to lead into the Welker. I love that. The route tree, you know what? To benefit of that, let's say Easy-E knew the assignments when he had to block, knew the playbook, could dictate it, could go to the chalkboard. But when in terms of getting the body and muscle memory on a route tree, I could buy that. I do. And when you have a guy like Wes Welker, who I think had a very unique, his own route tree. When you look at Wes Welker in Denver and in New England, he just got open.
But going on your point, you just say he didn't have to learn 2 books, the running back book, the receiver slot book. There's a lot to learn for a rookie coming in on his first season.
I'm with you. And this is what we've seen. I mean, we even saw it this year. I mean, the drafted players may not be utilized right away. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing at the moment, but we're seeing momentum from a player drafted that is now turning into a developmental Debo. Think about that word, a developmental Debo, because we have the guy who used Debo. Now it makes sense. It's like it's working,
yep.
But it's so early in the process. I mean, if we really want to be technical, if we really want to be really, really technical and just fun with Eric Ezukama, He got one target last year and he caught it. So, you know,
Yeah,
they
you
made the
got to
most
think
of
about
it.
Debo was only Debo when McDaniel was there in San Francisco. You got to look afterwards, and before that season, he hasn't been the same.
That's
Those
a very
numbers
good.
took a major hit.
That's another good point. I mean, look, this is the guy who, is the mastermind, and we need him as the mastermind. And I don't think if there's I'll throw out the percentages again because this is a more appropriate percentage. It's a guess, but this is a little bit more of a safer guess. I would think we've seen 60% at max of Mike McDaniel's mind in terms of his binder of the playbook. I don't think we've seen tricks. I don't think we've seen emergencies, broken glass plays. I don't think we've seen his vision or his version of a potential greatest play I've ever seen live in my life.
I've got to get out of here. My tow truck's here.
Okay, good luck with what you got cooking. And thanks for coming on, Tom.
Not a problem, buddy. You take care.
Fins up. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the weekend.
I'm going to.
Safe. That was awesome. I hope he gets home safe. Nothing more annoying than a car issue, whatever it is. So hope he's all good. And just to reset everything, in for Stephen D. Thanks for everyone that's joining. I got a card up here that's a big-time birthday boy card. Dan Marino. It's his 62nd birthday today. Happy birthday to Dan Marino. Right now, Mudbone is the lone raffle entry, and I participate in that, so he is the card winner at the moment. We're going to be on for another 15 minutes. If anybody wants to jump on, here is the invite. Questions, comments, concerns. We appreciate everything. So, Todd made great points. Great points. And I'm looking back into some score predictions here. Kevin Lee has 31-14. Tua and Hill will continue to light it up. I would love it. I would love it, and I believe it. Am I putting a guarantee and that's where my money is? I'm not saying I'm like, going against it per se. I'm not shorting the stock. I've been watching a lot of Big Short, everybody. I've been watching this movie, certain scenes throughout evenings of the last couple of weeks. So my mind is literally thinking about The Big Short. So I'm not shorting your position, Kevin. But my position is just a little more of a safer play. And I just think that if we get to 31, if we're getting offensive dominance via pass, I don't think there's any question about Tua, about the passing game, about McDaniel. I think it's just a matter of your best abilities, availability, and if all things go right, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I think we are steamrolling. And this is just the way that God and the football universe wants me to live my life. I live in Philadelphia. My wife's an Eagle fan. She's also a Dolphin fan. It's going to be a Dolphin-Eagle Super Bowl. And you know what? I'm hoping that's the case because I'm not going to be able to live here for 2 weeks. I'm not. I wear a Dolphin item of clothing everywhere I go, whether it's sneakers, hat, shirt, jacket, whatever. My license plates are Dolphins. My blood type is Aqua. I can't live here for 2 weeks if we're seeing a Miami Dolphin and Philadelphia Eagle Super Bowl. They know me at the Wawas. They won't allow me in. Everyone has seen the footage of what the Philadelphia Eagles fans do to the Vikings. I wouldn't be able to live here, and I think the football gods want that parody and want that joke. I truly believe it. And if that's the case, I will have to now live in Vegas for 2 weeks. So I'm really hoping for it, folks. And if that's also the case, wow, 2 weeks in Vegas. Let's see if I can convince the family of that. But anyway, Daniel is asking my final score prediction. My final score prediction. I'm going to go 21-19. And I'm going to say Jason Sanders will win the game. Yeah, sure. What the hell? What the hell? Last year, and I'm going to tell you why. Last year, Sanders did not have a good chunk of year. There was a moment where he had those yips. We were ready to call the dogs off, call the dogs on. And then there was a home game that started off, a really, really good. It was towards the end of the year, but he rattled off a very, very good and consistent back nine of the season. And Mike McDaniel, after one of the games in which that started, I'm going into his game logs. I want to get the accurate game in which he started that streak. McDaniel gave him credit, saying, basically, I'll paraphrase, that there's nothing cooler in sports when someone can come back after, adversity, I think was his word, and to be relied upon and to just come through in the clutch like Sanders had started to do. And he rattled off, okay, ready for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight perfect field goal games, and then had a 2 out of 3 for against Green Bay. We all remember that game. And then he kicked us into the playoffs going 3 for 3, putting the only, true points on the board, really. And that's what got the Dolphins into the playoffs. Safety also helped us out too. So I think Sanders is due for a moment, like a moment, like national moment. Everybody jumps on him and get off on a win. And wouldn't it be great to be on the road? I'll tell you, I probably, for my blood pressure, would much rather something like this and have it be easy. Like let's call it like 20-3 at half, and we're just rolling, and it's just fun. Sure. Chuck or Sean, just want the dub. That's where I'm at. Usually, of course. I mean, yes, just want the dub. D-Wayne. The Wayne D experience. Sorry about that. 28-10. Fins for the win. Again, would love it. Let's call that like imagine how would that math work out? Let's say it's 14-6. No, 14-3. And they have one more touchdown at the half. Great. I don't know why it's at 6. Brain fart. But Zach Turk from the Lehigh Valley. Are you related to the punting Turks? True story. Zach, if you're related to the punting Turks, we got to get you on the show. We got to get Mike on the show. We got to get Matt on the show. I just need an answer from you. Turk, Zach Turk, are you a part of the punting Turk family? I digress. Any other score predictions? These are fun. I'm going to stick to mine. I'm going to stick to 21-19. Yeah, I'm going to stick to 21-19. Probably a little light. It negates the Sanders aspect mathematically, so we'll call it 22-19 somehow. But he'll win. It'll be funky. Might be a funky safety. Might be a weird, go for 2. One's converted, one's not. I don't know. I like funky score here. I don't see a normal football number. I don't see like 24-21. I just see some funky, no relation. Okay. Zach, definitely DNA tree that up or whatever those websites are. If you're related to the Turks, that would be very cool. That would be very, very cool. So to wrap up, we have a couple more minutes, and I want to see if we can get any more donations, any more action going. Right now we have Mudbone right now as the lone raffle participant in the Dan Marino Pittsburgh College card. And I appreciate that, and we appreciate that, Mudbone. And if anyone else wants to say anything before we get on out of here, this was a very fun Spread Kindness Friday. Of course, we're spreading, good thoughts and good moving wishes to Stephen D. Hopefully everything gets there unbroken, on time. Appointments are made, all things are connected, electricity, lines of Wi-Fi, cable. If you cut the cord, make sure you get all your logins, passwords, connections. Make sure you're ready for Sunday. Sunday night. I hope you can relax, Stephen D. But I do hope to chat with you later and check in. I think I see a couple of new scores, some new fresh score updates. We have new attitude. 31-17 Dolphins. Defense scores a TD. There was a tweet the other day. Someone joked around. I joked around in response to the tweet. Someone asked who would be the Dolphins' first touchdown score. And I joked around saying it would be Javon Holland. So I hope that we are both right. I don't care who it has to be. Oh, Ivan Ulysses, a $20 donation. So now we have some action. Okay. We have some action for the Dan Marino card. All right. So now I'm going to set up the wheel. So bear with me, everyone, as I set up the wheel. I know how to do this. We're going to get this cooking. We're going to get this. Couple more. We'll spin the wheel in 5 minutes. At 11:28, we're going to spin the wheel, which gives me ample time to create it. So if my eyes are diverted, I'm trying to create this wheel here. Okay. We'll do a new wheel. We got two names of Mudbone. All right. And we got Ivan for 4. Okay. Who else? Mudbone, no, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, he did. He went there. But now we have action. We have Friday action. 2 individuals, 6 names on the wheel across $30 of donations. Thank you to Mudbone. Thank you to Ivan. Yeah, we have this ready to roll, ready to spin, so to speak. But going to wait another 4 minutes. 4 minutes for this Dan Marino card. $5 gets you a name entry. You can do the math on how much 10, 15, 20 would get you. We have Ivan versus Mudbone. 28-17 Fins for the win, Ivan says. I like that. We hear that Jacoby Myers is doubtful via Trucker Sean, 1981. 1981 is my birth year. As we're filling the last couple of minutes here with just some schmoozing. So I'm 42. Yeah, going into the 43rd birthday in January 18th. Love the number 18, love the number 81 for those reasons. So big reason why I'm a big fan of all number 81s. Durham Smythe, Randy McMichael, O.J. McDuffie. And 18s. Eric Ezukama. Mudbone. Donate the channel. Help the channel grow. Absolutely, Mudbone. We appreciate you. We appreciate Ivan. I appreciate everyone joining me and us as a community for all things. I will take the opportunity, and I haven't mentioned it all show. I try not to really be that overly promotional. But yeah, I recently came out with Dolphins Weekly. Today was another blast. It was a week 2 preview. There is the QR code. I'm going to take that down for a second, get the comments off for a second. That was not effectively done. But there's a lot of fun stuff in there. There's some original content. There's links to Dolphin content throughout the community. And really, if there's anything that anyone out there wants to promote, whether it's writing, whether it's a business, that's what this is for. That's Dolphins Weekly, 100% free to subscribe. Very much appreciate checking it out. It blasts usually 8 o'clock in the morning on Fridays for a pre-edition going into the week, and Monday on a week wrap-up. And of course, to reset everything, I'm sitting in for Stephen D. This show, of course, thanks. And the Miami Sports Music Channel, thanks. Tailgreeter Obviously, when you're looking at things to do for your road trips, there will be some awesome events in Baltimore, in Philly, in Washington. And we really appreciate you joining us. Stephen D will be in full effect. I will be at each location. Being in Philly, I'm like 3 hours basically with each of those locations. In Philly, I'm about 30 minutes. So added to the MetLife takeover that Dolphins NYC is putting on, there's some also great stuff from Dolphins NYC in the newsletter as well. So, whoa, we have another one. Apple CDX with 10. So we're getting, buzzer beater sort of. We got another minute. Very much appreciated, Apple CDX. So we're going to put you on in. Apple. Shuffle this up a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we are doing great. A very nice Friday edition of the show. Mudbone comes in. Well, it's funny. Mudbone adds another 10, asks a great question. I'm going to go off book. Neither. That's the McDonald's and Burger King's, kiddo. You got to go to Jim's. You got to go to a different name. You got to go to Reading Terminal and get your roast pork. You got to get your roast pork provolone broccoli rabe. You got to go to the dives. You got to go to some place that you wouldn't want to eat in the place. You want to take the steak out home. Pat's and Geno's is essentially that, but it's too commercialized. They're good. Go different. Jim's, there was a fire in the main Jim's restaurant like a while back. I don't know what they did in fixing it, but there's other locations, I believe. But Jim's Steaks was where I was recommended to go. And when I first had a Jim's steak, beautiful. Or one of mine. You all know that I like to cook. So that is one of my specialties. So Apple, Mudbone, Ivan, unless we have a last-minute buzzer beater, we have Mudbone for 4, Apple for 2, Ivan for 4. So, yes, I will attempt to share the screen. Okay. This is going to be fun. Let's go. Share the screen. I'm going to get this, folks. I'm not the most tech-savvy individual. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though. Does everyone see it? I hope. And here we go. Ivan is your winner. I hope everyone saw that. Did everyone see that? Ivan is the winner. So I appreciate you all. Ivan is the winner. Mudbone, I appreciate you. Apple, I appreciate you. Ivan, get your address to me on Twitter, which is Jason_Sarney at Twitter, which is right in Dolphins Weekly in the parentheses. And really, I want to wish everyone a very happy weekend, a safe Friday. Enjoy it. Enjoy your weekend of college football, NFL football, and, of course, Sunday night. I will tell you that myself and a Twitter account that you might know, FinFocus, with PH and a P, FinFocus, will be teaming up for a new venture brought to you by Pro Sports Fans, PSF. It's basically a Manning cast style watch party. So for the Patriot game, myself and Finn's Focus, his name is Jeff, we are going to be doing a Manning cast style simul watch of the game. So if you want a little bit of a different commentary while watching the game, download the app. PSF on Twitter, Pro Sports Fans. If you have any questions, hit me up. There's some super fans. There's some really cool aspects to get you really ingrained. I have some really fun surprises who will be joining Finn Focus and I throughout the course of the year. Maybe a couple of guests, maybe a couple of other really fun giveaways and in-game let's just call them surprises. That's all I could say. But Sean Salisbury is one of the guys behind this. You all know Sean from his media and, of course, his playing days. Sean's fantastic. Every team has multiple shows and representatives. The Dolphins have multiple shows. So in addition to myself and Finn's Focus, King of Finland on Twitter, we'll be doing shows as well. We're going to be flip-flopping and really kind of taking different weeks. Finn's Focus and I will be debuting on Sunday evening. So once again, thank you to everyone for donating. Thank you for joining us on this Spread Kindness Friday for Clock Blockers, Miami's #1 morning show for Dolphin fans. And of course, for Stephen D, I'm Jason Sarney. Hit up Dolphins Weekly, 100% free to subscribe. Hit the like button. Every Miami sports music show you watch, subscribe to this channel. Stephen D and the crew put on a ton of tremendous shows and work really hard. So fins up, everyone. Thank you, and have a great Friday. Take care, everyone.